Hey, good morning, you beautiful people, guys. It is Friday. It is the end of the week. It's the last Friday of the month of May. Guys, it has been an absolutely amazing month. And listen, there's been a lot of changes, a lot of new things happening. To all of you that have opened up and registered your accounts, thank you for being patient. We're going through a learning curve with change. Unfortunately, in every season, there's a little bit of change, and we navigate that by solving, getting through it. But as always, thank you for everybody who's messaged for help. I hope we've helped every single person. If you haven't received help or you feel you want to speed up the process, as always, down in the link below is the Telegram group. You can message me and the team will get you sorted out. But first, it is Friday. Let's share some love. Let's spam the comments with a little bit of love. It's Friday. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Guys, it's great to be alive. It's great to be able to trade the market as always. And I just wish I could see every single one of your guys' faces to share the love across the board. So we are going to be doing a weekly wrap up. Now, yesterday we spent a little bit of time getting through some admin, helping you guys get into the groups. Now, when I speak about groups, what am I referring to, right? I'm referring to the Premium Plus group, right? Next week, we have a Premium Plus group, and that is where we're going to be sending all of our trade opportunities. It's a more exclusive place that I can show and share where I'm taking trade opportunities. Now, again, this is not to be confused with financial advice. It's not to be confused with any sort of advisory services. This is me taking trades and sharing what I'm seeing in the market. It's up to you to do your own due diligence and decide whether you would like to follow in on that. But I've had many requests from people who aren't able to attend the shows but still want to jump into trades with us. So Premium Plus group is where that's going to be happening. We are going to be having exclusive chats in there where you can ask questions, share what you're seeing in the markets, and we can pump each other up and have a look at things in that way. Now, in order to get there, all you need to do is jump into the Telegram group. You'll see there's pinned messages, select your broker, open up your account, get funded, pop us a ID or your client ID that we can verify that you are sorted. Then we'll give you access into the Premium Plus group. Now, the Premium Plus group is free provided you have an account with one of the brokers that we have paired up with, right? If you don't have an account with any broker that we use, you can still be part of Premium Plus. However, that is a monthly fee. So it is in your benefit to avoid any monthly fees. Just have an account with a broker that gives you the absolute best possible trading conditions, and that way you get things for free. So guys, listen, let's jump into the markets. Let's have a look at what we are going to be dealing with today. And there is a bunch, right? So let's just start off really quickly with a recap of what happened yesterday, right? So yesterday we got some GDP data that ended up coming out, and that was basically what dominated the market. So let's quickly just talk about that, right? So in essence, the world's busy speaking about the fact that because of some of the good data that came out yesterday on the dollar, that recession fears have sort of been curbed on the dollar. The dollar gave in some really good gross domestic product performance, beating expectations. Jobless claims came in far under expectation. And that is why we saw a massive pump to the dollar yesterday. However, there's still those debt ceiling fears, which seem to be calmed today in terms of the news, right? There's not a lot of people speaking about that, but that is still looming. Now, as I spoke about yesterday, the only other thing that could come in and blindside traders is any sort of downgrade in the US's credit or debt rating, right? That could blindside us. We've seen that happen in previous debt ceiling limitations, or as previous timelines have come to that point where during the Trump administration, that debt ceiling was almost reached. The US credit rating was downgraded just prior to the debt ceiling being moved. As I've said, the debt ceiling needs to be moved, right? The US economy is too big to fail. They can't afford for this debt ceiling to be hit. But again, this is going to be a political play of each side getting a little bit of what they want in order to agree to get this thing moved, right? So that is going to be super, super important. Now, looking at the week ahead, we have a very, very exciting week ahead. Before I jump into the rest of the data and the rest of the news, however, I just want to start off by saying Monday is going to be a little bit of a slow day, right? As we look into next week, we are going to see multiple markets closed on Monday. We do have Memorial Day in the dollar. We have bank holidays in the UK, as well as in Switzerland. We've got some Pentecost Day that is also closed. So Monday is going to be a slow day in the market. So this is a day perfect for us as traders to be focusing on price action. So Monday, we will be starting pounds for breakfast, but dollars for lunch. We're going to be having a Premium Plus show. That's why you do want to have your account open and be in the Premium Plus group. And then as we're going to be doing a ton of price action trading. And that doesn't mean markets are going to be completely dead or slow, but it means markets are going to follow primarily price action related movements, right? Again, the debt ceiling is the only other curveball we could have, but moving into the balance of the week, we have some good data that we are going to be able to trade as we move on into the balance of the week. However, next week, Friday, the 2nd of June, is NFP. Right now, I'm super excited for this. Looking at some of the US data that has come through already, looking at yesterday's unemployment rates or data that came through, the NFP next Friday can be absolutely massive. This is going to be a premium plus event. So again, you want to make sure your account's funded, sorted out, because we are going to be trading that live, and best believe it's going to be big. It's going to be massive. So next week, we have a bunch of fundamentals we can potentially trade. But again, the big I sites or the big sites are going to be on NFT. So you want to be sorted out. You want to be funded. You want to be in a position to trade that. Thursday is going to be big too. So we will receive quite a bit of dates on Thursday. We can also potentially jump into. Now, really quickly, having a look at the S&P 500 heat index map from yesterday, we can see that there were a few entities that benefited from some of the data yesterday. Now, this is a story that I missed in the morning, and I just want to cover that because what you're going to see is mostly tech stocks benefited from yesterday. Now, what happened for US 100 to rally? And this basically came down to Nvidia. We did see it in the news, and we did see it when we were looking at some of the news. It was a big item there, but basically I missed it in picking up why we had that massive tech rally, and that was basically because of Nvidia's AI sort of development, their R&D, and their forecasts of where their AI and developments and chips is going to lead them to their evaluation stage, right? So very, very close to pushing them to that 1 trillion evaluation stage. And that is basically given the whole tech sector a bunch of hope. Nvidia being a staple from just a pure value perspective, that is essentially what shot the price of US 100, otherwise NASDAQ, through the ceiling. But other than that, some of these better GDP data figures are also going to help the Fed in their job to obviously curb inflation, right? We saw yesterday the South African Rand had that 0.5% rate increase, right? Again, obviously in worries of curbing inflation. Seeing some of those GDP or gross domestic data figures yesterday for the US does two things, right? It strengthens the US economy in the sense that the recessionary fears are calmed a little bit. But in addition to that, it essentially markets to the Fed that you don't need to be as aggressive in squashing the economy to obviously rein in inflation. And that is why we should start to see Wall Street respond positively, specifically if we can see that debt ceiling being resolved. Now, remember, they've got a deadline of the 1st of June. So we could see this resolved anywhere between now and the NFP. So you take all these things together, we are due for an explosive week next week. Monday being a bank holiday, no problem. Gives us an opportunity as traders to get our house sorted from a price action and analysis perspective. But that then takes us into the next journey, which is the next big explosion. So why do I think this is going to be big? And I want to share with you guys this really quickly, but just quickly touching on Nvidia on a 24% gain on yesterday. Massive smash through the markets. A lot of the markets followed some of those moves there. AMD on the coattails there with another 11%. And I see there was somebody else here that was also on quite a big run. Let's see, another company that I'm not aware of, but they were on a 17% gain as well. But as always, we're here for the market, so let's just move into what is busy happening in the markets. And before we get into that, I just really want to speak about something really quickly that I've received a ton of questions about, right? I've received a ton of questions from clients from pretty much all over the world asking about leverage, right? As we're opening up accounts, as we're getting things sorted, people are asking, Dane, what leverage, how do I use leverage? What is it all about? Now, again, if you guys go through the Quantum Growth Markets Academy, right? Again, it's absolutely free. There's 8 hours of me teaching you everything you need to know and so much more about the markets. If you guys go through the academy and you simply just jump in the academy by following the link in the Telegram group down in this video description, it'll take you through to this playlist, right? If you jump into this playlist and you go and have a look at brokers, which I believe here is part number 2, and you go have a look in there, I speak about leverage and what leverage does and how it works. But in essence, this is a quick breakdown, right? In the video, I recommend nobody really ever needs leverage of more than 100 or 200 as an example, right? But leverage works like a fast car. And I want to make this example, right? If you have a look at a very fast car that can do 300 kilometers an hour, right? Is it necessary? No. Can you drive 300 kilometers an hour everywhere? Absolutely not. A, you're going to kill someone or you're going to get locked up. And I don't condone speed in any way, shape or form. But does having that power to accelerate a little bit quicker, is it beneficial? Can it get you out of sticky situations? Yes, it can. So even though 100 to 1, 200 to 1 leverage is great, and it's kind of the mean for any normal trading activity, when you have more leverage, it means the margin requirements when you open a position is smaller. So let's take a practical example, right? If you have a look at HFM, right, just as an example, if you have a look at opening up, let's say, one standard lot on NASDAQ, right, that will consume $300 on 100 to 1 leverage. So meaning to open up a standard lot, $300, what you need available just to open up the position, and that will be consumed as margin. The balance left is your available balance, right? Your available margin to move around in the markets. If you only have a $400 account, it's very easy to get stopped out because a portion of your margin is being used to open up that position. But if you have 1,000 to 1 leverage or 2,000 to 1 leverage, the margin requirement is substantially less, closer into the region of a couple dollars, $30 or $40 to open up that position. So it's much like having a fast car, right? Do you need to drive on the limit all the time? Absolutely not. You're going to crash the car, get yourself into trouble, so on and so forth. The same thing with leverage. Do you use all of your leverage? Do you use all of your margin? Absolutely not. You'll blow your account. But it is nice to have in the sense that you utilize less margin to open up a position. So I hope that is a little bit clearer. In the academy, I do make a recommendation, a personal recommendation, that it's not necessary to have anything more than 200 to 1, but it's great to have, right? It's great to, have a couple $1,000s in your account, open up a standard lot on an index and see it only utilize $30 or $40 margin. It's absolutely mind-blowing, specifically for events like NFP, high moving events where we want to take slightly larger positions and benefit from the market. So I just wanted to make that clear for everybody who was asking about leverage. 100, 200 to 1, perfectly fine, but having 2,000 to 1 leverage is a very, very nice thing, right? And that is offered to you guys by HFM. Links down in the description below. You can jump in and take advantage of that should you so choose to do so. The academy is also down in the description below. However, we're here for the markets. That's what we're here for. So let's jump in. Let's have a look at what's happening in the markets. Beautiful stuff. Okay. Let's have a look really quickly. I want to start off with US 30, and this is going to be super important for a couple of reasons, right? First things first is that I just want to explain to everybody that in this season here, right, this is currently looking at US 30. We are on a smaller time frame. This is 15 minutes. And I just want to point out that we are still in a bear market. So as much as we talk about a debt ceiling being lifted and potential opportunities for, massive rallies and breakouts, I just want to make everybody aware that as long as we are in this bear market structure, right, there's a bigger pullback of a much bigger market. But as long as we maintain this bear market structure, we are still in a bearish market. Now, what I'm looking for in terms of the debt ceiling being raised and in terms of some of these fears being qualmed is essentially breaking through, specifically on US 30, otherwise known as Dow Jones, but ideally looking at getting through the 32,967, otherwise rounded up as 32,970 mark. The second we go through that, we are in a new state or new phase, right? We're no longer in a bear market or retracement factor, but we're now in the new impulse or new bull leg of this market. So that's what I'm looking out for, and we will more than likely see this next week, unless politicians, being politicians, take this to minute 99 and mess this thing up somehow, which I'm not sure how they can do because it's a pretty straightforward thing. We will more than likely see this level being broken. Now, whether we hit that level and retrace because the US debt is downgraded between now and then, that is possible, right? So that's why I don't have bullish anticipations, or I'm not trying to buy into resistance because there's quite a bit that can happen between now and then. However, looking at US 100, it's a little bit of a different story, right? We spoke about this as well. We had a few discussions around some of these levels, but as you can see, and if you missed yesterday's Pounds for Breakfast, you may want to go and rewatch that just to maybe further break down why we drew out some of this Fibonacci price action. But going back to a 1 hour time frame, specifically looking at US 100, which is otherwise known as the NASDAQ, we can see that we had initially that big sell-off, right? But this is just on that NVIDIA release, right? The NVIDIA release or that stock report or their earnings and forecast basically pushed NASDAQ back into this bull market structure. Now, again, right, we are still stuck in a little bit of a zone that we do still need to overcome, but we completely recovered above that 88.2, acting as a dynamic support. So there's very, very, very good outlooks for both the NASDAQ as well as US 30 to completely not only overcome any sort of bear market structure that we've seen over the past little bit, but certainly entering into a new bull phase. Now, this is important as traders because, again, these phase changes don't happen every single day. They don't even happen every couple weeks, not even every couple months, right? These phase changes happen every couple quarters, right? So to be part of a phase change or to be part of a change in, bear market consolidation and then into bull market is massive because it allows us to hold longer trades, longer positions in the market. So this is going to be key and it's going to be absolutely essential. Now, looking at gold, we were speaking about gold yesterday, and I will touch on ZAR because ZAR was a massive one that I called out yesterday, and I hope some of you caught that trade. I did see a couple of screenshots. I wasn't able to repost just to the fact that we were obviously busy with quite a bit of admin. We were looking at gold yesterday, and I was really looking for and hoping for some sort of gold buys. And I was looking at that just from the fears that, this debt ceiling wasn't going to be reached. And I didn't anticipate the dollar having as good of a data set as it did, but it did, right? And ultimately, we saw a massive, massive sell-off on gold yesterday afternoon. And that, again, is just that's basic dollar strength, right? Strong dollar, you see gold fall down just because gold is priced in the dollar. So stronger dollar means gold falls. However, if we have a look at where we are now, and I want to show you guys a slightly different chart if I've done it, which is this one here. This is currently looking at gold on a 4-hour time frame, right? And I just want to point out the fact that gold is still in a massively bull market structure. However, a couple key things that we just need to consider here is the fact that right, we've got a level of support we have been through in the past. If we go back to March of this year, we went through support temporarily and then gold continued on its rally, right? Again, with the instability in the world, everybody runs to gold. But if you have a look at the season where we've been in on gold up until now, gold has pretty much pulled all the way back to that level of support and then broke it, right? We can see the 25th being yesterday, we broke that level of support, but where gold is currently sitting now, this is going to pretty much determine everything. So this is the big question, right? And I'm going to get this question, I'm hoping after the show, people are going to say, but Dane, all right, if you're saying the debt ceiling, if the debt ceiling gets lifted, right, that takes off the pressure of the US economy, and doesn't that mean doesn't that mean dollar strength and that gold should fall? Well, no, because remember, if we have a look at all the politics that have led up to this debt ceiling, if you have a look at politics around inflation, interest rates, so on and so forth, the dollar benefits from these uncertainties. Being the world reserve currency, the dollar's performed extremely well. Look at the dollar's performance whilst this debt ceiling issue has been happening. The dollar's performance actually been on the up and up. In times of uncertainty, everyone defaults to the world reserve currency. So if the debt ceiling is lifted, where do we see benefits? We will see benefits in the stock market. We'll see benefits on US 100, US 30, the S&P 500, and across many others, meaning the stock markets will benefit, but the dollar will take off some of those highs, meaning we could still see opportunities for gold rallies, or at least gold to exploit some of that dollar weakness, right? We've seen the dollar being extremely strong in times of uncertainty, and gold also tends to be a safe haven currency. So these two tend to battle it out in times of uncertainty. But when we see the tables turned or we see things flipped, we could then obviously see some sort of movement here. However, NFP being that random joker card in the mix, meaning if we see those unemployment rates or that unemployment data favorable on Friday to the dollar, the gold will obviously suffer. So debt ceiling, right, being lifted, raised, resolved, going to be good for gold, and we can potentially see gold rally. We could potentially see the indices and stock markets rally. However, the only uncertainty or potential joker card is the US debt or the ceiling being downgraded, causing a little bit of a mixed ball reaction, and NFP performing extremely well on Friday. The stock market doesn't particularly enjoy that because the correlation with the dollar, and gold doesn't enjoy that either, in particular correlation with the dollar. So that's just something we need to be aware of. And I just want to paint out some of those outcomes so that you are aware. And that's the purpose of why we do what it is that we do. And I would love to know your feedback, your comments. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings around this particular subject? So again, just keeping an eye on gold. I'm looking at, and I've got some key levels here sitting at that round level, $1,960 to an ounce of gold. For me would be a technical breakthrough of resistance, and then mean we could be heading into new bull territory. Now, what does this new bull territory look like for us? Guys, it is massive, right? We're talking about potentially making a new high, and that means around about 1,300 to 1,400 pips on gold, which is massive, right? Most people trade 30, 40, 50, 100, 200 pips on gold, and they call that a massive success. However, in this next season, should we see certain things, perfect storm come together, we could see some big rallies making some new highs on gold. Now let's move on to USD ZAR, because this is a very, very interesting one, right? I covered this one yesterday. If you missed it, you might want to go and rewatch yesterday morning's Pounds for Breakfast. But ultimately, I called out the fact that, hey, listen, we've got some data coming through. We've got the interest rate announcement on the South African Rand. And looking at where the South African Rand is and the economy is, the South African Rand couldn't afford, you know, to have a high interest rate, right? To have that base interest rate raised. And I explained a little bit about what that means. Ultimately, the South African Reserve Bank raised the base interest rate by 0.5% or 50 basis points, both on the prime rate as well as the base rate. So you should be receiving a notification from your bank, from any institution, that you have a variable credit rating or variable interest rate linkage that basically says by the end of the month, potentially you'll be paying more for your credit or your debt rather, whether it be home loan, car, credit card, so on and so forth, right? So that obviously is part of the catalyst that sent and tipped the scale. The other one is the fact that the dollar did so well. So we basically saw USD ZAR go through the roof yesterday. When USD ZAR was in this region, I was speaking about, I was going into some buys on USD ZAR, and I held in some positions here, but I didn't catch the full momentum of this move to the top side. But USD ZAR absolutely skyrocketed, basically almost peaking out at the 19 Rand 83.84 cents to the dollar. Now, I've spoken about this in the past, that, you know, we could hit the 20 Rand to the dollar very, very soon. And it's seeming more and more likely that this could potentially be the case. Now, we've started that scallop formation on USD ZAR, and that basically just means that USD ZAR will start the retracement process and basically claw back some of those gains. It may potentially use today, as well as Monday being a US bank holiday, to make some of these gains towards the downside, right? So we could see a retracement here, and then again, based on dollar strength, based on NFP, this can be a big play here towards the top side. Now, again, if you're sitting in local currency and you want to benefit or at least offset the negatives of a depreciating currency, what is the best way, right? We can take this playbook out of reserve banks. We can take this playbook out of governments. And what do governments and reserve banks do? They hedge in other currencies. Now, having a position on USD ZAR as a trader means that you are physically leveraging or offsetting the deficits of your own currency being basically less valuable by essentially buying into or hedging into another currency. So being a trader, guys, is absolutely essential. And we don't want to see a situation where we are sitting in a position like some of our fellow African countries with hyperinflation, where our money basically becomes useless, right? God forbid. But we're traders, we're able to obviously make the best decisions based on the information we have available, and that's my job, is to make that information available to you guys. So again, I saw a comment there, Fabian, saying, will you be trading today? I know you normally don't trade on Fridays. Guys, I absolutely will not be trading today. I'm going to be following my rules. If I see something happening in the morning, or should we have a stock release on a Thursday, so should we have a company announcing some sort of gains on a Thursday night, I may be running those trades on a Friday, but you guys will see that in the Premium Plus groups. If I enter a position, you'll see that, and I'll provide some reasons as to why I'm doing that. But I will not be trading today. Today and tomorrow, or today and Monday rather, is all about setting up for the bigger week, making sure that accounts are sorted, admin sorted, you guys are sorted, and our new look and feel is sorted. In addition to that, really quickly, I just want to mention that we are going to be changing things around for next week, meaning Pounds for Breakfast, we're going to make a pre-recorded session of everything you need to know, nice and condensed, compact, that as you wake up in the morning, the first thing you're available at your fingertips is Pounds for Breakfast. So you can go in, watch for a couple minutes, what are the key things happening in the markets, basically giving you your daily dose of information right? And that is going to be free. Pounds for Breakfast will be distributed around the world, but then in our live shows, that's going to be limited to Premium Plus members, meaning having an account with one of our recommended brokers, and that allows you to get access to the premium content for free. But in terms of Pounds for Breakfast, it's going to be pre-recorded from next week, meaning as you wake up, first thing in your inbox, you're going to receive Pounds for Breakfast. You can watch it any time, everything you need to know and so much more. And inside the Premium Plus group is where we're going to be trading and or sending trade opportunities, as well as being live throughout the course of the day. So you definitely want to be a part of that. And those are some of the changes we are working on and will be working on over the course of this weekend. Now, remember, if you've got your account opened, you've used the link to open it up, you've got it funded, please pop us your user ID, right? So I did mention before your MT4, MT5 numbers. Don't send me that because I can't see that information. I can only see that I can see your user ID. So if you've got a user ID, pop that through. I can verify it is funded and get you that link and get you added into the Premium Plus groups. Okay, let's see. Marshall Bart saying, for those who wanted to watch at 4 a.m. I remember there was a comment, somebody saying 4 a.m. is going to be the time that they want to jump into the shows. Yeah, 100%. Alvin is saying, do the $50 free account people also qualify for Premium Plus on HFM? Alvin, unfortunately not, right? That means, you know, the $50 promotion that HFM is doing basically means they're giving you $50 in a real environment to trade. And whether you take the $50 to $1,000, that's great. But Premium Plus is only for people who've actually funded, right? And that allows, that basically means you involved, you've done something to deserve to be in the live broadcast. Otherwise, we will have thousands of people who've just created free accounts that don't take trading all too seriously. And Premium Plus is if you want to take your trading game to the next level. So I trust everybody can appreciate that it is only accounts that you've funded successfully that get you access into the next level. So Alverno is saying, are all the shows going to be pre-recorded? No, only Pounds for Breakfast. So Pounds for Breakfast, we want to make sure is delivered early as humanly possible to every single one of you. So we want to make sure that as you wake up in the morning, you basically have Pounds for Breakfast in your inbox. You can watch it at any time. Dollars for Lunch will be a Premium Plus product. So for those of you who are in the Premium Plus group, right? So I hope that makes sure, I hope that is, I hope that answers that question. Guys, ultimately, trading live is what I enjoy. It's what I do. It's what I love. And that is what it is all about. Dollars for Lunch is where my passion sits. Dollars for Lunch, we are going to be changing up in the sense that it's not going to be a quick in and out. It might be longer sessions. As I'm trading, that opportunity will be sent to the group. So even if you're not watching live, you will still be able to see, okay, great, Dane is buying X, Y, and Z for this reason, right? And you may choose to follow that. You may choose to do the opposite of that. You may choose to do whatever you want with that information. But we're going to make sure that we're able to get to that information no matter where in the world you are as best we physically can. Okay, so just looking at the rest of the markets, I just want to scan through and make sure there's nothing that I missed that I wanted to speak about this morning. But basically, it's going to be just in order of summary, the potential for that US30 breakout long, and I'll quickly do a quick summary here. It's just to make sure that we're obviously aware of any sort of US30, otherwise known as Dow Jones, break long to the top side. It's just to obviously make sure we don't get that NASDAQ break to the top side, as well as also potentially just keeping an eye on where gold is currently sitting. Gold on that daily, again, that 1,960 is going to be that key resistance level. We want to make sure that gold gets through. ZAR, it may do a little bit of a retracement here. You may be able to scalp the price of ZAR, and you might just want to just basically jump in on a 5 minute. South African Rand can be extremely predictable, specifically on smaller time frames. I will be essentially basically speaking about a scalping strategy on ZAR. For those of you who enjoy spending time on your scalps, there is a great 1 minute strategy you can use on USD ZAR. It's super effective, except you're pretty much going to be spending a bunch of time opening and closing a lot of trades. So if that's your trading style, I will be showing you guys what's happening next week. I do need to either close some of my charts or remove some of the things on my charts because my charts aren't happy with me. They just kind of sit there, right, staring at me, telling me their names. So those are going to be the big things. And again, for those of you who don't know, I haven't announced this essentially publicly, right, in the sense that I haven't been on social media and announced this yet. I wanted to make sure that my clients are sorted out first before we announce to social media. But yes, link in the description down below. Jump into the Telegram channel. You'll see there's a link to open up with HFM, and you're able to open up a no deposit bonus account, meaning you can open up an account today for free, verify. They will give you $50 of live money that you can trade with. It's not your money, you can't withdraw it, but whatever profits you make with that $50 within certain T's and C's, up to $1,000 you can withdraw. I looked on my dashboard this morning, I can see there's already clients that are smashing it. I do believe this is limited to Southern Africa, so if you guys are outside of Southern Africa, it may be a little bit of a problem, but you're welcome to contact us. We will obviously speak with Musa, our amazing superstar at HFM, to see what we can do for you. But guys, go ahead and use it. It's up and until the end of June. So you want to jump in, you want to take advantage. I've had clients already opening up accounts with absolutely no money, taking those accounts to well over 6,000 Rand, already have met the account conditions, traded over the 4 lots. And remember, the 4 lot trading condition is essentially cumulative, right? And you will see how little margin it requires in order to open up some big positions, right? So I've got clients that have taken accounts well over 5,000-6,000 Rand already, traded more than their 4 lots, met all the account requirements, and have already done withdrawal requests, meaning have already made money absolutely free. I don't know where else in the world you guys can potentially do that. Looking at where the South African Rand right now is, $1,000, you know, a year or two ago wasn't all too big of a deal. $1,000 in today's money, looking at how crap the South African Rand is close on 19,000 Rand, right? So who doesn't want a free 19,000? I don't know. But if you guys want to jump in, take advantage of that, go ahead and do that, and you can take pretty much have some fun right with it, see what you can do with it. Outside of that, guys, we're going to be spending a little bit of time on admin. So if you've got your account sorted, you want to get in Premium Plus, follow the instructions down below. You want to jump into the Quantum Growth Markets Academy, absolutely free. There's 8 hours of education. You want to understand, you want to take your trading game to the next level. That is also in the Telegram link down below. Just go and have a look at some of those pinned messages. Outside of that, guys, share some love. Make sure you drop a like on this video and share this video with somebody who maybe needs to know a little bit more about the markets, who maybe wants to take advantage of these opportunities, and we're going to pretty much have some fun together. Outside of that, guys, as always, much love for you as well as the rest of the markets. We'll see you guys all a little bit later. Goodbye.